Our society has once been a colony of other superpower countries, and decades later, we still suffer from neocolonialism brought upon by the Western influence we inherited. Today, Jean Simon Castillo and I, John Kevin Abcao, will tackle and analyze the story written by Amado Hernandez entitled Mga Ibong Mandaragit, or The Ravenous Bird.
This is a story that entails the socio-political problems that have been eminent in the lifetime of Mr. Hernandez. But before we discuss the story, let us first understand the background of the author of this literary piece. Amado Vera Hernandez. He is a poet, playwright, and novelist. He is among the Filipino writers who practiced committed art or political art. He was born in Tondo in Manila and studied in Gagalangin Tondo, the Manila High School, and the American Correspondence School, where he finished a Bachelor of Arts degree. He began writing in Tagalog for newspaper Watawat when he was a teenager. In 1922, at the age of 19, Hernandez became a member of the literary society Aklatang Bayan, which included noted Tagalog writers Lope K. Santos and Jose Corazon de Jesus. In 1932, he married Zarzuela actress and Kundiman queen Honorata Atang de la Rama, which is a national artist for theater and music. During World War II, he served as an intelligence officer for the resistance. After the war, he was appointed and elected as a councilor of Manila in 1945 and 1947. Hernandez was arrested on January 26, 1951 on suspicion of his writings and activities among the leaders of the rebellion. It was while when he was imprisoned that he wrote his most notable works, including Mga Ibong Mandaragit. The novel acts as a sequel to Jose Rizal's historic Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. In addition, he was also called the writers of the workers because of his criticisms and analysis about injustices to some of the workers here in the Philippines during his time.
Mga Ibong Mandaragit. Characters: Andoy, the protagonist, found Simon's treasures. Dolly Montero, Andoy's partner when he went to Paris. Tata Matias, foster father of Mando. Don Montero, the immoral businessman who owns Hacienda Montero, and he is Dolly's father. Setting: Manila, Paris, USA, and Don Montero's hacienda. So the story starts after the liberation of the Philippines in the Second World War. Andoy, a servant, escaped from Don Montero for suspecting him as a guerrilla. Andoy settled and lived with Tata Matias to avoid detection. Tata Matias showed Andoy the path where Simon from Noli Me Tangere stored his treasures. They then proceeded to go to the location with an acquaintance of two guerrillas, Cario and Martin. They then successfully located it near Atimonan, but selfishness quickly came into them. Both Cario and Martin planned to deviate Andoy by taking him out. Their plans quickly failed, as Cario got eaten by a shark and died immediately, while Martin got killed by Andoy by self-defense.
However, Andoy got slashed by Martin in the face, leaving him unrecognizable. Because of this, Andoy decides to change his name to Mando Plaridel. The newly formed Mando Plaridel plans to make a publishing company called Campilan. He left the company to be managed by Megat, one of his associates. After this, Mando decides to travel west. In Paris, he met Dolly Montero and went to America. It was then after he came back to Manila that he found out that the government wants to shut down his company. He found out that Tata Pastor is not a trustee with Don Montero whatsoever. This leads the farmers from the hacienda to be forced to flee, including Tata Pastor, Mando's father, and Puri, his cousin. Mando went to Dolly's house. Dolly found out that Mando's real name was Andoy, who used to work for his father. Mando intended to make his publication to expose corruption and the government. Mando is also eyeing his former master Don Montero, as he is the kingpin of the smugglers. Mando Plaridel did not hesitate but to fight against the oppression of Don Montero. He will not stop until he attains justice.
Mga ibong mandaragit in a nutshell. Andoy escaped from Don Montero. Andoy settled in on Tata Matias for a while. Then after that, being slashed on the face, he changed his name to Mando Plaridel. Mando Plaridel created Campilan, a publication company, and traveled west. There, he met Dolly Montero. Problems came in after he went back to Manila. Dolly Montero found out that Mando used to work for his father. Mando Plaridel aims justice against Don Montero. The literary approaches used in this selection are the histobiographical approach and the Marxism approach. We use the histobiographical approach because in the 1950s, cases of discrimination have spiked after the war because of poverty and ideologies that swept the nation. The author has also been reported that he was penalized when he was writing the novel. The irony of how the government turns a blind eye to whoever criticizes the system, much like the one mentioned in the story when the government was eyeing Mando's company.
While in Marxism, during the first half of the story, we see how Mando has turned against the government after he published the publication company called Campilan and the skin and class-based discrimination that's happening to poor families from high-ranking positions in the society. This means that capitalism has been prominent throughout the story, as it bases on the exploitation of farmers being used to the owner's hacienda with strict implementations of work subsidized throughout the workers.